first, some general items here. Your speed is 112 miles per hour. Come close. Will be a bit lower than what you typically see the TrackMan, but so it's a 112 miles per hour. And the men's average, elite men's average, including professional teaching professionals and then college players, that's about 110. So you're slightly over that. For your height, obviously, you're generating more speed than others. So this is normalized to body height.
Okay.
And then also the overall swing time here is about 800 milliseconds. So this is about 20% shorter than typical. So I like a faster backswing. So in your case, you have a faster backswing. But then the question is whether the faster backswing is coming from your arms or your lower body. And you tend to use your arms a lot.
I do, yeah.
Yeah. And then if you look at the clever speed pattern here, so from here to here, this is backswing. From here to here is a downswing. But in the backswing, the peak clever speed occurs early here. If this is the middle point here, then it's happening earlier.
Right.
Actually, this has to happen later.
So the top is me, and then the bottom is, are they both me?
Yeah,
Okay.
both are you. But this is the actual miles per hour. This is normalized to your body height.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
See that now.
But the patterns are exactly the same.
Okay.
But your peak occurs here. But this should be happening later here.
Okay.
So what this means is you have an early action, quick action, then kind of slowing down here.
Yeah.
So, but what should happen is that you have to have more effort toward the end of the backswing here so that you can create your body coiling.
Okay.
And then that will give you a better connection to the downswing. But if you have an early action here and then you're just throwing it and then slow down here, and on the way down you also use the arms.
Yeah.
So when you use the arms in the backswing, you tend to use the arms on the way down. When you use the body more in the backswing, then you use the body on the way down.
Yeah.
When you use the wrist a lot in the backswing, then you tend to use wrist a lot in the downswing. So usually what you do in the backswing, basically just the
presets.
the basis.
The flexes.
So, and then I prefer this happening a bit later here, so that initially it can be a bit slower, but they have exaggerated the action here. Then this will give you good downswing motion here.
Yeah.
When you have a good body coiling toward the end, then you can use these big muscles when you start the downswing. But if you let it go here, then you will start downswing with this.
Makes sense. Yeah, I think that's what I feel too.
So this is what we can see here, and then this is the top view. This large rectangle, this is the swing plane. And then this is the target line, and this is the direction of the swing plane. So this line shows the line of intersection between the swing plane and the ground. So then your swing plane is slightly rightward. This is normal for the driver.
Yeah.
So when you go down at impact here, at impact, actually, the club head is moving slightly left.
Right. It felt
Yeah,
like there were
yeah.
a couple poles. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but so which means swing plane is slightly right, and you're going this way. That means that you are hitting up. You have tendency of hitting up, which is normal for the driver. Now, this rectangle shows the hand motion plane. So this is based on the hand motion.
Okay.
It's inward here. It's because you have more arm-driven swing here.
Yeah.
When one uses arm-driven swing, then the hands tend to go inward because you have to drag it.
Right.
Yeah. So the angle difference between the swing plane and hand motion plane is about 10 degrees. This is a bit too big.
What should it normally be?
Actually, the average will be about 1 degree, 2 degrees here.
Oh, okay. That's a big difference.
So in other words, some people have almost a parallel alignment. Some people have a more inward hand motion plane. So the hand motion plane goes more inward than the swing plane. Or some people actually have the opposite. Hand motion plane go outward more than the swing plane if you have this motion here. So, but in your case, you have an inward direction gap here, and which then leads to the so-called almost the spiral swing here. So let's go to the swing plane view here. So the straight line here, this shows the swing plane. So it's calculated based on the cleavage motion from horizontal to horizontal here. Using this, we calculate the swing plane and then projected everything to the swing plane. So this colored line is the actual cleavage path. And then these are all projected to the swing plane. So you will see that the off-plane motion here. So how far the club head is located from the swing plane.
Okay.
And then in the backswing, you tend to go a bit flatter here.
Yeah.
This is something you need to avoid. Going flat initially does not help much. You can go actually a bit steeper in the backswing, and then you can always shallow this. But when you go flat here, eventually you have to lift this up. Then it's hard to shallow again.
Right.
Because you go up and then try to come back again. But if you go high up and then continue the motion more downward, you can have a natural shallowing here. But go here and then lift and then on the way down try to bring it down. That doesn't work.
Yeah.
So, and then also the part of the reason why the club head path looks flatter than swing plane is because your swing plane is fairly steep. It's because of the arm-driven swing here. So what happens is, in the backswing, this is the top of backswing here. You have this crossover alignment.
Yeah.
Okay. Then from here, if you pull the handle down, what happens is the club head goes up here. So with that, club head moves like this. It's hard to bring it down when you initially pull the handle down. So then already your swing plane is determined by this motion here, and it becomes quite steep here. But when you go up, and particularly before you reach the top, before you reach this top position here, if you go a bit higher and then do the shallowing, actually on the average, most of the shallowing is done from the point of when the pelvis rotation is completed to the top of backswing.
Okay.
That's the transition phase. But so before you reach the top of backswing position, already you have this shallowing motion here. And going to the top position, because you are maintaining this motion, pretty much after the top of backswing, still you can do the shallowing, right? But most of shallowing is actually done before the top of backswing.
Right.
But in your case, if relatively your club head path and the swing plane, the club head path is flatter, then you are going up here, and then it's hard to do the shallowing motion. So then what happens is also you have arm-driven swing here. So pull this here, then you cannot bring this down. That's why it has this large arc around. So when you have a good shallowing motion, then what happens is the club head goes up here, and they have a looping motion and going into the top position and then quickly coming toward the swing plane here. So this is something you need to explore.
Yeah.
Initially, try to bring the club head a bit higher here, and then you can easily drop this because the gravity is always pulling things down. So you go high up and then bring this down. So when the wrist goes sort of this motion here, then later you can use the wrist to throw the club head. But if you pull the handle down, this is pretty much what happens.
Yeah.
And you keep pulling this inward here, that's why the hand motion plane becomes inward.
Yep.
So,
Can I ask you, so I got a lesson from Terry Rolls, an online lesson, thinking that I was a cover golfer, so I've been doing a lot of sort of swing movements as with a kind of a weak trail hand grip.
yeah, your grip is kind of weak.
Yeah. He has like a trail fold test to try and determine kind of what maybe the best grip would be.
I don't
You
I don't like the way they do things.
Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know if you.
No, I don't like
And
that.
so that's why I think I'm, coming flatter because he describes that grip as being sort of a deeper swing. And then, he talks about like some people that are weak grips being a little bit.
What I
across the line.
actually promote is neutral grip.
Yeah.
Okay. So, as if you are shaking hands with the club. So then instead of going this way here,
Yeah.
this is your grip,
Right.
but hold it like this.
Yeah. So just.
And then with this, you can do this motion here, lifting this up a little bit. So when this happens, the backswing pad can be steeper here. Go up and then to this position here. So using the steeper pad, go up, but still you can come down here and then shallowing like this.
Yeah.
So on the way down is a bit easier. So go up here and then coming this way here. But if you go this way here, then eventually you have to lift this up, and then when you pull this hard,
Yeah.
then as the handle comes down, the club head goes up here. So that's why the club head makes this large arc and coming down.
Okay.
And then in that case, you also lose the wrist cock early.
Okay.
So
Yeah, I guess what I was trying to, yeah, that makes sense. I think what I was trying to do with the weak grip was to try and come out.
that puts a lot of burden on the wrist here. That's
Yeah.
not a natural motion.
Okay.
So rather,
So not
when
just
you
a
have
side
more
on.
neutral here, then it's
Yeah.
easier to bring this way here. No need to go dorsiflexion here,
Yeah.
but just to use a radial deviation here.
Okay.
So then you can go this way here. It's a lot easier to generate that motion.
It feels easier. I guess that's why I was across the line, is trying to not have the club face open, almost kind of a low rate of opening.
Yeah, one thing you have to avoid is going the wrist going to this dorsiflexion.
Yeah.
This just limits the range of motion.
Yeah.
Okay, so either you just use your radial deviation, and then but main thing is actually this pronation supination here. This has a lot of range of motion. So
Yeah.
when you use the deviation, you have this much range of motion. When you use dorsiflexion, palmar flexion here,
Yeah.
you have this much range of motion. When you have pronation supination, you have this much range of motion. A lot larger range of motion, and also the muscles involved are bigger. So when you swing the club and then use the pronation supination motion here, the motion goes like this, right? But if you drag this,
Yeah.
then if you go this way, then it's stuck here. And then, or without doing this, you try to lift this up here, then the swing becomes really outward. If you keep pulling, then the hand motion plane becomes inward quite a bit. So it's because of the way you move the hands. But if you use the supination of the lead arm really well here, like that, let it go, then no need to do that. So
Okay.
we have
A
to
little
take,
bit stronger.
yeah, we have to take advantage of this larger range of motion, and also bigger muscles here. And then mostly the reason why people have elbow problem is you use this motion.
Okay.
Try to use this motion, but so yeah, that's something I noticed. You use the sort of weak grip here,
Yeah.
but go to neutral,
Okay.
neutral, and then when you lift here, it's still the wrist is almost in a neutral position here. But by introducing this motion, you can let the club go a bit steeper here.
Yeah.
But when you go this way here, then this introduces dorsiflexion here. That means that you are just killing the mobility
Okay.
in the wrist here.
Yeah.
So,
Fair enough. Okay.
and then, so what usually happens is relative to the swing plane, the club head goes up here, and then you have a natural looping motion here. Then through the top of action, you are shallowing the club head here. So you don't have to do intentional shallowing here because it's so natural, go up and then slightly dropping it.
Yeah.
But in this case, it's going below the swing plane, and eventually it's lifted up here. So let's go to the essentially, in order to move this a bit higher,
Yeah. I need more
with this motion, you're doing this here.
Uh-huh.
But no need to do this, just lift the head, the club head a little bit.
Okay.
Then the posture in the wrist will be a lot comfortable. Okay, so then you're lifting this up here, but eventually you go to the crossover position because turn here, and then when you lift this, naturally you are lifting the elbow,
Yeah.
the right arm, then automatically goes this way here. But instead, let the club head go this way here, and then continue this motion. Then what happens is that your right forearm tends to have a supination here. So during this motion, if you have a supinated right arm here, then you can have a little bit of a layoff position here. So go high up here, close to the top position here. You are letting the head go down. With this, you have natural shallowing here. And so if you have the image of doing this supination in the backswing here, instead of going the opposite way here, if you have a supination motion here, then what happens is your elbow stays more in front of your chest here, then the club head is behind your back. So you can go straight from here to the target position without much motion here.
Yeah, I think my grip was too weak, so I couldn't feel like I got my elbow in because I couldn't square that face.
So usually
Strengthening it a
when
little
this
bit.
happens,
Yeah,
this is lifted here.
right.
Go here, and then when you lift, if this side is high, then club head goes this way here. And then when you have crossover alignment here, then on the way down, you have to bring the club head toward the swing plane.
Yeah,
So you have this large arc on the way down. In order to bring the club head towards swing plane, your hand has to go in here. But if you drop this a little bit and then come down here and then let it go here, then this hand also tends to go high up here. So when you use good pronation supination motion, then hand actually goes high, but the club head is dropped here. Swing, and you also have this motion here. The hand tends to go here.
yeah.
So that is called the planar swing pattern. So this is the swing plane here.
Right.
At the top, the hands and the club head stays above the swing plane. And then they come down to the swing plane, have nice planar motion here, and then the hands and the club head go above the swing plane. So positive deviation on this side, positive deviation on this side here. And then the deviations are reasonably balanced. But in this case, at the top, you have large deviations of the club head, but in the follow-through, it stays close to the swing plane, and it can actually go slightly below the swing plane in the follow-through. So then you have a positive deviation, but here, you have a negative deviation here. That's why it's called a spiral swing.
Okay.
And the opposite is a reverse spiral. You go below the swing plane here, and then go really high up in the follow-through.
Yeah.
That's because you are dropping this and then try to flip it here. So there are three main patterns. Planar pattern, so reasonably balanced, positive deviations here. Spiral swing, positive deviation, and you have a gradual motion toward the swing plane, and then it goes below the swing plane slightly. It's a spiral. You drop the club too much here, and then when you start the downswing, the club goes below the swing plane, and high up here is called the reverse spiral.
Yeah.
Yours is close to a spiral swing.
Okay.
It's because you have a large inward direction gap. Your hand motion plane is about 10 degrees inward than the swing plane. That automatically causes a more spiral swing pattern. So you need to use this pronation supination motion more actively, because this is a lot safer. It's coming from a bit bigger muscles here, and you have naturally you have a large range of motion. So you don't hit the end of range of motion. When you go this way, you hit it. When you go this way, you hit the end of range of motion.
Okay.
And then the slope. The slope, the swing plane is about 50 degrees. This is really steep, considering your height. So for those who are 6 feet tall, let's say, then they have a slope of about 47 degrees. But in your case, you're 173 centimeters, and then your swing plane is the swing plane slope is correlated to the height of the golfer, and then judging from your height, it should be like 45, 46 degrees.
So at impact, that's 45
No.
at impact,
So
or that's
this is overall swing plane here.
overall? Okay.
Yeah, this is considering the motion from here to here. But this is similar to what the launch monitor gives. Yeah. But So it's a 50, close to 50 degrees. This is really steep. It's because you go up here, you will have crossover position, but you're pulling the handle down here.
Okay.
So you don't allow the club to drop
fall
this
and
way here.
flatten, yeah.
So,
Flatten this way, right.
so you need to work on shallowing. But in order to shallow well, you have to avoid this crossover position. And then, more importantly, try to have continuous shallowing, natural shallowing here. But then this matters here. So you can, as if you are throwing and then you have active supination motion here, and then drop and then come down here. Then you have a more natural shallowing. And then the center of mass motion here, the red line shows the center of mass motion of the whole body. So this red dot is the whole body center of mass. This one is the pelvic center of mass here. If you look at the whole body center of mass, it initially goes away from the target and then goes up and goes diagonally down and diagonally up here. But this has to go down more. This has to go down more, diagonally all the way to this place, so that the low point should be lower than the initial. However, you start the upward motion from here, and then the low point usually occurs about here, 8. About here, the center of mass should go, stay at the low point. That means you are introducing early upward motion because, let me play this several times here. See what happens here. Because you are pulling the handle down, as you are pulling this, your body is going up like this.
Right.
So what happens is, according to Newton's third law, action and reaction, so the force always acts in both directions. The torque always acts in both directions. So if the muscles connecting the arms and the body are pulling the arms and club this way here, then that same force will also pull the body this way here. So when you try to pull it down hard, then it's easy to move the body up here, because the force is pulling both sides toward the center, right?
Okay.
So as the muscles are pulling the arms down this way, the same muscles are pulling the body up. So it's easy to go like this.
Yeah.
But instead, you have to use the more body-driven swing here. When the main motion is coming from the leg action here, then move the body here and then throw the arms here. But what you are doing is using the arms early, pull the arms here.
Yeah.
So that's why this doesn't go that low here. When you use the body well and then in the backswing, push the ground with that, the body moves up and then drop the body and then kick. This is what happens. With this, you are throwing the club here, but instead go up here and quickly pulling this down.
Yeah. Right.
So the body is moving upward. So the upward motion starts way earlier here. The upward motion should be starting about here, when the club is vertical. There, your center of mass should be at the low point. Then it starts moving upward. But it's starting way earlier. This is the low point here. That means you have this dragging pattern here.
Yeah.
Dragging the club, and then your body is moving up. So when your body moves up early, then you cannot interact with the ground that well in the later part of the downswing. So if we go to the ground reaction force here, so this is your peak force here. Your peak force also occurs way early here. It's about here. The peak force actually has to occur about here.
Okay.
So this is the peak force, where the peak force should occur, and then also at this point, the center of mass should be at the low point. So your upward motion starts earlier, so that you cannot push the ground that well when you come to this position here.
Right. If I'm not low to be able to push off. Yeah.
Because your body is already start moving
going
upward.
up, so
Yeah.
it's- Okay.
So again, if I run this several times here, you see. as you pull the handle down, your body's going up like this, instead of using this motion here and then throw and then stand on the leader side here, instead of pulling here. So during the back swing, you have an early quick action here, and then throw and then try to pull this down. Instead, as I said, at the beginning it can be a bit slower, but then have a good effort toward the end of the backswing, and then create this good wind up, and from there, using the body, throw. And I have a good drill for that. So when you use the body here, you can create this pumping action here without using the arms. Keep pretty much the arms relative to the body here. By using the legs, you can create this pumping action here. With that, you will see that this is bending quite a bit. And then let it go. So we'll practice this when we do the reprogramming. But so what I see here is, judging from the center of mass motion here, you're not dropping the body enough.
So not dropping enough, and then that's also why my peak vertical is
Part of the reason is because you don't have much time. Your backswing is really short.
It's short, yeah.
And then that's mainly coming from the arm actions here. So you are not allowing the body to drop enough. If you drop the body enough, then you can easily push the ground with the leader leg.
Yeah.
And using that, you can turn faster, but almost like you just pull and then eventually here quickly stop. If you look at your swing motion, that's the impression I get here.
Yeah, it almost feels like a recoil a little bit.
And then you just pretty much stop here.
Yeah.
And then, so initially you have to have a good shift away motion, and then yeah, I think if you change the way you do the downswing a little bit, then this should be pretty good swing. I promote the faster backswing.
Yeah, right.
So you have that.
Followed you a bit on
Yeah.
YouTube, so-
But then the thing is, so try to have main effort toward the end of the backswing, and then from there, using the body muscles, let it go, and then turn around, standing on the lead leg.
It's interesting. I've always thought of trying to have less tension at the top of the backswing to have a smoother transition, but I think I'm being less active at the top.
So
like you
your
said.
tendency, you initially
Yeah.
quick throw here,
Quick throw and
and then try to bring this
Yeah.
down.
Got it.
And then in terms of the pelvis motion, this red line here is the rotational motion. So during the backswing, you rotate this much, and then at impact, you're rotating this much. And this is reasonable here.
Okay.
And that this pattern is also reasonable. But now this one is showing, this red line is showing for the backward motion of the pelvis.
Okay.
And then green is away toward.
So positive is towards the ball and negative is way?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then blue is up and down motion. Now, if you look at the red line here, so at the beginning of the backswing, your pelvis is moving backward. And then start moving toward, and they keep moving toward. But this is a bit unusual. Usually, if you use the legs actively, then the pelvis actually moves forward. So let's see what happens here.
Is the dashed line, is that impact
Yeah.
on the graph? Okay.
Yeah. So then at the beginning here, so you are here. Look at this.
Yeah.
At the beginning of the backswing, your body is slightly moving backward. So either you don't like your setup position or something's happening here.
I think I'm trying to use my legs like I've watched on your videos, but I think
Yeah, but,
it's the wrong movement.
So if you want to use the leg actively, so push the ground with the right leg here. When the right leg is supporting the body well, and then turn, then actually your left hip is moving forward more.
Yeah.
So the center of mass moves actually forward. But here, something happening here is initially, at the beginning, you slightly go backward and then try to do this. And then this is actually coming from this spinning action here.
Yeah, okay.
So
And what will that lead to, the pelvis going backwards early? Is that still a flatter plane and dragging it in, or?
So you have an initial quick action by using But one thing I like about it is that you are actually moving your body before the backswing starts. But the problem is that when you start the backswing, and then your initial action is going more this way here. Instead, using that, you have to create this good shift and then push the ground so that your right leg supports your body, and naturally the left side goes forward more here. This way, the pelvis moves forward.
Okay.
So you have an early action here. This bottom graph shows a forward backward force. Okay. And then, so you have a symmetric pattern here. On the lead foot, the force acting in the forward direction, on the trail foot in the backward direction. With that, we're actually turning this way here. So early on, you're quickly using this motion here. It's called the pivoting motion, or you can generate pivoting torque by using the ground. But at the beginning, you have too much of this here. So early, quick action, and then slow down. Instead, as if.
So build up, so
Yeah.
slower.
Yeah. So
More
Vijay sing instead of Vijay. So you have the tendency of early quick action here. So that's why the pelvis is moving backward initially here. But pelvis has to go forward, coming backward again, and then forward. The lateral motion, you have a quick initial shift motion here, but only this much here. And then this side is dropping. So what happens is you have early quick action, and then this side is dropping, and then with that you continue this. So a slow motion here. Actually, you have early really quick action here, and then by lowering this side, you have slow motion here. Instead, stand on the right side here.
Okay.
Stand on the right side.
So sway more. I think I've led to that pattern from thinking I'm like a left post golfer for pushing off for power, and trying to get my weight back left.
In order to push hard with the lead leg, then before that you have to unload this side.
Right.
And then when you load, the muscles go through so-called eccentric contractions. The muscle gets longer. With that, it generates a larger force.
Okay.
Instead of already loading to that side.
Yeah, I think I was almost like a stack and tilt. I can tend to get into that.
Yeah, actually, stack and tilters have a really weak lead leg action.
Oh, really? Interesting. Huh. Okay.
So, and then, so this shows the early quick action here. And we can probably see this in the angular velocity patterns later. But the X factor, in terms of the shoulder hip separation here, you see, so here the two lines are parallel to each other. So X factor is 0. And after that, the shoulders are turning more. So up to this point, you see faster motion of the shoulders here. So the X factor increases rapidly. But here, the slope changes.
Yeah, great.
That means you have two-stage motion here.
Okay, interesting.
Instead of having continuous separation all the way here, you have a quick early action and then slowed motion here. So this means you have early action of the upper body here. So initially moving together, you have a quick shoulder turn here. Then after that, you tend to move together here. You have an early spinning motion with this, and then slow down here, so the slope decreases.
Got it.
But when you have a continuous motion, all the way here, particularly using the momentum of the whole upper body here, you let it go and then create good separation here, coiling, then the X factor keeps increasing all the way to a top of action. So instead of early rise here and then plateaus here, you will keep going all the way to a top here. So this means you have a bit upper body driven backswing here. Now the kinematic sequence is probably the main thing here. Because we lost your sternum marker several times, so the superstern notch several times. So let's focus on the angular velocity here. These are basically the kinematic sequence patterns are angular velocities.
Yep.
And then the red line is pelvis. And you see in the backswing, your peak angular velocity occurs here at the beginning of the backswing. So you have a quick turn here,
Uh-huh.
and then slows down.
Right, right.
So although overall the backswing is really short, however, you had the early quick action here, then from there gradually decreasing, then you lose the effect of the backswing. So you need to have a good connected transition to the downswing. For that, actually, this peak has to occur, the pelvis peak has to occur more at the center here. Then everything will be pushed back. So the club peak angular velocity occurs later here. But in your case, really early here.
Yeah.
And then with that, thorax also reaches peak angular velocity here, the shoulders, even the arms here. You have an early quick action here, but then
It really slows again.
gradually slowing down here. Even the club head here. So instead, if the pelvis reaches peak about here, everything is pushed back, then even the club will go here. Then toward the end, if the body rotates faster, then you have to actively slow this down to change the direction, right?
Yeah.
That gives good transition.
Okay. Awesome.
So then you have a sequential transition here. Because of the personal notch problem, so this may not be accurate.
Okay.
So, but normally what happens is the pelvis here, this is a club. So this is the transition phase. From the pelvis transition point to the club transition point, yours is about 70 milliseconds. This is relatively short. That means that you have a quick transition here.
Yeah.
But when you have exaggerated motion toward the end of the backswing here, then the transition phase elongates. And you will have a good sequential transition here. And then you will be able to start the downswing motion with the body action and then throw.
Yeah, very short and quick from the top.
So then in the downswing, the timing of the peak is okay, reasonable. The foot pelvis is around here. So this is reasonable here. So we don't have to worry about the downswing. But so this is early, quick motion, and in the transition phase is relatively short.
Yeah.
That means you normally have a clustered transition when the transition phase is short. And then so you have quick motion and then slow, and then what happens is try to pull this down, then you have tendency of clustered transition.
Of all the different body parts transitioning
Almost at
together
the
and
same,
not
yeah.
separating, just
Because you don't have enough transition
time
phase
to
time,
be able
yeah.
to spread
Yeah,
out.
yeah.
Okay.
So, and then see also the club head angular velocity is in reaching the elite man's average maximum here. Your wrist is way below. That means you are not using your
Yeah, I got more.
wrist. Actually, this one means the supination pronation motion here. You are not using this motion enough. So when we calculate the angular velocity at the wrist here, that reflects both the wrist motion and the forearm motion.
Okay.
But this is way below the man's average.
Got it.
So when you go up here, you just keep pulling here, and the hands are going this way. Instead,
Being able to release and control. Yeah.
Mm.
I think I was worried about hooking, and then again, just had gotten too weak with the grip, and so just wasn't able to release it and use that supination pronation. I think.
so this shouldn't be a forced turn like this. When you let it go, generate enough speed and then let it go, and then create well-defined swing plane here, naturally it goes this way here. It's not intentional effort like this. Yeah. So just you are throwing the club head and then let it go instead of just dragging here or drop here and then lifting this up here. So we see these extremes quite a bit in these days. But so in the kinematic sequence pattern here, what I see is early action here in the backswing. So it's important to have the right image, and then also sometimes use phrases like Vijay Singh.
I think when you emphasize the last part of the VJ too, that for me that connected that you're still building up the speed to the end. It's not VJ.
Right. So Vijay, yeah.
Yeah.
So that way you can exaggerate the later part of the backswing, right?
Right.
Then that gives a better transition from backswing to downswing. And then you can also use at the beginning. You can use the bigger body muscles instead of pulling the club. So you are strong. So you can generate enough speed right now, but as I can see, is coming from the arm actions and dragging this and then try to hit the ball.
Yeah, I feel like there's a lot more speed that I have that I'm not using.
So usually what happens is golfers have strong leg muscles, but usually they don't use it that much.
Yeah.
Sometimes even juniors, their leg muscles are really strong, and I can feel that touching the muscles. Is a rock hard muscles here, but the pity is they don't use the muscles.
Yeah.
But then some people say, oh, you have weakness here, weakness there. They keep training. It's not about weakness. It's your motion pattern, so you are not really engaging those muscles enough.
Yeah, I've always felt that I've had strong legs, but not really used them effectively in the golf swing.
And in golf swing, we're not really talking about this maximum effort to push using the leg. In the running, when you have a reasonably fast sprinting, then you can easily have 3 times your body weight force acting on the leg. But in golf swing, if you exceed the 2 times body weight, the total force exceeding 2 times body weight is too much.
Right.
So usually it's like a 1.8 to maybe about 2 times body weight in that reason. So you can easily generate that force, but that force is not coming from your intentional push, rather slowing down the downward motion. When you drop the body and then eventually you have to slow this down, otherwise you will collapse, right?
Yeah.
By slowing down this downward motion, you're generating maximum force.
Yeah.
So the muscles are going through eccentric contraction, lengthening.
Appropriately,
Yeah, with that you are generating large force, and with that force you are now start moving upward.
Right.
So that force is coming from slowing down the downward motion instead of intentional push and jump.
Okay.
So we don't need to generate large force, but we can easily use the muscles well. So when you have just each, dancing action here, or you can dance like this. Then you are pushing. That's enough. Then with that, swing and throw. And then now let's go to the way you use the ground. So in the frontal view here. So we have 3 graphs. The middle one is the force magnitude.
Force magnitude?
Yeah.
Okay.
So the red one is the combined force. The blue is the force acting on the trail side.
Okay.
Then green is the force acting on the leader side. So when you start the backswing, before that you actually have a lot more force acting on the lead foot. So this is how you start the backswing actively. Okay, so this is good.
Okay.
And then soon you'll have more force acting on the trail side, but this is too quick, too early. You have an initial trail side push here.
Yeah.
And then another one here, similar here. But so at the beginning here, you don't have to have this quick action here. Rather, all you need is just to have a nice shift motion here.
Slower build up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So from here, then initially shift motion, and then by pushing the ground, then you are generating this good wind up here, instead of early action here. Usually the early action is coming from pushing the ground forward, backward, to generate this pivoting torque. But so you have initial quick push here. This causes the pelvis angular velocity reaches peak value early. But you need to have, using the trigger motion, and then have a and then exaggerated the motion toward the end of the backswing instead of and then slow down. So usually what happens is the maximum push from the trail side comes about here.
Yeah.
Slide after this horizontal shafter position here. But now, at this position, also the red line should be reaching maximum value in the backswing here. But you have early action, it goes slightly below the body weight, and then now slightly above the body weight. You have early action here. But this is where you have to have more force here.
Okay.
So the unit is body weight. And the red line can go either above the body weight or below the body weight. Above the body weight means you have an active push. You're pushing more than your body weight. When it goes below the body weight line, then you're not pushing as hard. It's called unweighting.
Yeah.
So we have a push, slide unweighting here, push, and more unweighting, and then push it here. But this is a bit complex here. The simple pattern is you maintain this and then good push here, and then continuous unweighting here, and then good push here.
Okay.
But your unweighting decreases even here. By the time you reach the top of backswing, you're already having force greater than body weight. But this is where you have maximum unweighting. So you are pushing the ground, you start pushing the ground really early here. So instead, in terms of vertical motion, essentially you push and then drop the body and then push again. Now, in order to do this easily, we take turns. So we alternate the legs. So initial push is coming from the trail side here, then drop the body, and then the second main push is coming from the leader side. Right. So go here and then kick this way here. But for some reason, you are starting the pushing action way earlier. The body moves up, and while you are pulling it down. But instead, you have good loading on this side here, in the backswing. And the key, every more time, you have to have a longer transition phase here. With there, you are ready, and then in the meantime, you are dropping the body here. And then when you are ready, and then try to push the ground and then throw. So what the upward motion timing is way earlier because your maximum unweighting is here, and the unweighting decreases. By the time you reach the top of action here, it's already active push here. This is way early. So peak essentially occurs about here, where the peak actually helps to occur here. The low point, the center of mass should reach the low point here. About here. This is the low point, but your center mass is already moving upward. So if you change this timing, and then you have better timing, then your downswing becomes a lot more active.
Yeah.
So this is something you have to work on.
Is that just the tempo, the transition? Is that just a combination of mobility, tension, better practicing with a tempo trainer? I have the Tour Tempo app that I practice with.
Not that one, because essentially, this is because of you're pulling the club using the hands. So it's a matter of motion pattern. So then you need to take a dance class. When you are more aware of the rhythm, then the swing motion becomes really easy. So, this is the rhythm. Push, kick, 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 kick. This is as simple as this. When you walk, then kick, 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 kick. So you have the right timing of the kicking here. Then kick and throw here, and then kick and throw, and then kick and throw, kick and throw. So this is a step and throw, or this is called the shun rhythm. Shift turn here. So shift here, and then you create the situation where you can easily push the ground. By shifting and then dropping this side, you can easily push, right? So shift, and then by pushing the ground, you are turning the body here. And then shift here, and then by kicking the ground, then turn. So shift to turn, shift to turn, shift to turn here. But then you have to wait until the shift is completed. And then let it go here. So if you find this timing, then certainly the downswing becomes a lot easier. And also what will help is the feel of going this way here, using the pronation motion here. If your intention is to go here and then throw it this way here, you cannot pull it down. So just to drop a little bit here, and then this is your intention here, instead of. So use all these as the cue, and then you can change the way your swing rhythm. Then once you find the right rhythm, then you will be able to see that you are throwing the club hard with the good push using the lead leg. So throw and then stand on the lead side nicely.
Yeah. I've been practicing with the rope swing at home and kettlebell and stuff, but I think maybe I'm not doing it exactly right.
So there is a timing issue.
Yeah.
The way I see it is timing issue. And then, and then always what's important is how you do the backswing, because the backswing really sets the base, right? So instead of early quick action and then slow down here, then you try to pull this here. Instead, gradual and exaggerated motion toward the end and then let it go. So we'll use different drills and then see how you well you respond. So then this is top of backswing here. This is where we expect the most unrating. And then at this point, actually
At the top.
yeah, this at the top you have more force on the lead side because you tend to move the body early and then. So at this point, still you should have way more force on the trail side. So the center pressure should be here, and then it should give good inclination here. So the force here should go more from here to here like this. Instead of it's already located closer to the lead side here.
I think I always felt like I was getting my weight left late, and so I've been trying to get left earlier, but now it looks like it's too early.
And then
I don't have the weight on my right still.
on the left side, you don't have to move that much.
Okay.
So what happens is, if you imagine this triangular space here, then all we do is just straighten this side here. With that, you can push the ground down and out. And also this side, when you push the ground, then you have down and out here. So you're moving in this space here. No need to move a lot. So all you do is in the backswing, if you have a good push and then wind up here, all you do is just drop the knee slightly toward the end, so that create this good push. It's not about shifting this a lot, but rather you're just creating the body posture where you can use the leg really well after that. So all you do is you have a good push from this side, and this is unloaded here, so you can easily drop this. And with that, you're ready, and then between this push and this push, you already automatically have unweighting. The nice thing about having two legs is that this is actually one of the best gifts that we got from God. Okay? We have two legs. So we can alternate the legs and then do a lot of mechanically interesting things. But particularly in the walking and then in golf swing here, in the backswing, when you have active use of the trail leg here, that this is unloaded, so you can easily move this around. And then so by slightly shifting or even slightly leaning this way here, you drop the knee, then you're already in the position so you can kick the ground here.
Okay. I've tried to get more range of motion sometimes by like lifting my left leg, but I feel like I'm out of position to push off of that. If I weight back, so if I tried to straighten my right knee and then lift my left knee, when I reach back over, I have to take some time in order to get back.
It's not a good idea. It's not a good idea to move the knee inward here.
You still need it somewhat over the ball. The foot,
so try to keep the foot flare here.
Yeah.
And then so when you walk, so when you're stepping action here, always have the feel of walking outward here, and stepping outward, instead of going like this. Yeah. So when the problem with the knee going this way is then automatically your pelvis is shifting that way here. Then it creates a weak position. With this, it's hard to push here. The actual position you need to go is with this just good push and then just to drop this here so that you can push here. But if the pelvis is going this way,
if I broke it like
then it's hard to push this.
You can't push off of that. That's what I think of.
That's why you feel you're not shifting early enough.
Yeah.
But actually, it's because you are not pushing the ground well with this side. When we have a good push here, then you could have good push here. It's just this motion. Push, push. And that motion is too much. Okay. So just you kick here, kick. So here, just the image of just a kicking here and then kicking here, kick,
Okay.
kick. This is enough. Kick, kick. Yes.
Oh, that's much less complicated
That's
than I was thinking. I
that's
was thinking
enough.
ahead because I know you've always tried to get people to move more, but I was moving.
So when you are going into this position here, it's weak position. It's hard to push the ground.
Yeah.
So just kick the ground, kick the ground, kick the ground. Yeah.
Got it. Okay.
Then you don't have to worry about being late
Yeah.
in terms of shift here. So, but anyways, so at this point, you have the maximum unrating. When that happens, you will be able to have a good push here at the right timing here. But everything is starting early. So the one positive side is you have a relatively long moment time here. The bottom graph shows the separation between the center of mass and this force arrow here. It's called the moment arm or lever arm.
Okay.
Imagine you draw a perpendicular line here. That's a wrench. You're holding it and try to pull it here.
Yeah.
So this is the length of the wrench, and you're applying force here.
Yep.
So this is called the moment arm or lever arm. This moment arm times the force gives the torque.
Okay.
The torque you generate in the frontal plane here. So your moment time, the longest moment time is longer than man's average here. This is good, but then it quickly drops. And then the torque you generate in the frontal plane is also greater than the man's average maximum here. But again, the torque decreases rapidly here.
And it's too early still. Yeah. So it's not transferring into the
So-
top end speed very well.
So here, the moment time is decreasing, the force is not increasing that much. So you can have more torque on this side here, but it's quickly, so it goes up and then quickly drops.
Yeah.
And then when you have good interaction with the ground at the top of action here, you have longest moment time here. With that, you have a peak torque. And after that, by using good combination of the moment time and the force here, you can maintain the torque. But it's quickly dropping. But still, this is better than a lot of people, because this is means the average maximum. That means there are many people who cannot generate this much torque, even at the elite level. So considering that you're generating a large torque here, but again, you can improve the way you interact with the ground quite a bit here. It's always a matter of timing.
Okay.
But that timing has to come from the right action in the backswing here. So instead of early quick action here and then slow down here, try to have exaggerated body turn.
Seems like it all comes down to my grip, forearm rotation, and then the active backswing. And the timing.
So all you do is just with comfortable position, then throw this high up here, and then kick, and then as your body is going through this exaggerated motion, then you're dropping this slightly, so you don't have to really pull this early. Because in the transition phase, the main thing is happening in the body here.
Yeah.
And then you're dropping here, and then bouncing, let it go.
I mean, that first body movement is what shallows the club, right? I mean, yeah, it's not really an active thing by the arms.
Yeah, so you need to have more body-driven initiation of the downswing. So I have a good drill for that. So the pumping action.
Yeah.
So we'll see. So again, if we look at the way you interact with ground, we have a long moment time and then large maximum torque here, but the pattern can be changed. And particularly, what I see here is that you have a second tilt-like, action here. So you're shifting the body too early, and then you have more force acting on the lead side at top of action. And then when this happens, usually you cannot push the ground that well here.
Okay.
It's like, so when we walk, if we use both sides equally, then walk like this here. So push here. But when you have a second tilt-like action, then essentially this is happening.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So when you try to run with the both equally used here, you run faster here. But when you try to run like this, you cannot.
Makes sense.
When you actually need to push the ground well, you cannot, because it's always loaded on this side here.
Always weighted,
So
yeah.
it's hard for the muscles to generate good amount of force through the eccentric contraction.
Okay.
So imagine you're running. You have to run really fast. When you sprint, then these generate enough force. But when you try to run like this,
That totally makes sense. That's a great analogy. Yeah. Okay.
so we have to.
More on waiting and keeping it more on my right, so
Yeah.
that I can
So the key in the interaction with the ground is loading and unloading. When you load the one side, then you unload the other side. You take turns.
Yeah.
So with that, you have a good push on this side and a good push on this side. Between the pushes, using these two legs here, then there we have the unrating, natural unrating. So all you need to worry about is just a push and then push, push, push.
Am I unweighting the left enough, or it's just I'm loading it too early?
So here, if you look at the initial
The green and yeah.
difference in the forces, this is large enough. This is large enough, but you are starting the
But it's just
the
too
next
early.
action too early, so
Okay.
that the body is going.
So I'm unloading it enough that just starting too early.
So
Okay.
you have to give
Translate into
you have to give enough time in the transition phase, so that you actually have this continuous unrating all the way to top of action, and then start the pushing. Then the force increases rapidly.
Okay.
So currently, this means that your force is actually smaller than that here, because it is a small force, and then the momentum is decreased quite a bit already here. So at that point, the torque is also quite small here. It decreases rapidly. So I think the main thing here is just timing.
Yeah.
And then when you are more aware of the rhythm, then you should change things completely. So always dance, 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 dance. Okay? So that's what I see here. I have some other things, but these require some study. So, okay, any questions?
Oh, my head's exploding. No, this, if I were to summarize, it's awesome that you record this too, just to go back and watch again and again. So to kind of summarize some of the main things was, too weak of a grip is getting me not to be able to use radial deviation and pronation, supination, and to have that power, and that's also getting me across the line. And then in terms of my takeaway, it's good that it's maybe a little bit more active with lower body, but I'm not building up slowly to at the top of the swing still being active. I'm less active at the top, and that's causing me to rush down.
The worst the combination of motion in the wrist is
Yeah.
the dorsiflexion and the radial deviation going this way here. This is the worst.
Yeah.
But when you hold in the weak grip, you are already in that position. A lot of people have a short backswing here. It's because they go this way here. So they are combining
Okay.
the radial deviation and the dorsiflexion here. Then this is it. They cannot go any further here.
Yeah. Right.
Really
right.
short backswing. So when you go neutral, you can go a bit more. And actually, this can be also coming from this supination motion. If your elbow is not too far out, if your elbow stays more in front of your body, then by using the supination motion, you can create more color motion here, right? But if you go here, you're going to this position here, then it's stuck here.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yep.
So this is the worst
Okay.
wrist motion you can imagine. This is deadly combination of radial deviation and the dorsiflexion
Yeah,
here.
it's just it's not the way it's meant to move. It's a
Yeah.
hinging joint.
If you look at the natural motion here, try to keep the wrist more in the neutral position here, not deviated too much either way. With that, if you want to have a smooth and then well-defined planar motion here, you have to use a pronation supination really well.
Okay.